It's the day after Miss South Africa, guys, and first of all, I have to complain. I know, shock, horror, Rena complaining, what a novel concept, never been seen before. But I must say, I have never been so simultaneously disgusted by and in awe of the Miss South Africa organization. Guys, if you are South African and you were able to watch on SABC3, and if you were there in person, you are excluded from this conversation right now. We have to talk about the shit show that the live streaming was. Keep in mind, guys, these weren't free streams. People paid to watch these streams, or rather, I must say, to not watch the stream. Now, included in this little paid package was also, the red carpet covering, which, usually I don't really care about. But since we paid to watch that, guys, the cameraman was filming the sky and the tops of people's heads. Other than that, I missed the entire first hour of finals because the live just refused to work. It worked for maybe a couple of minutes, then it cut out again. It just wasn't working and I got so upset. So I missed the intro, I missed swimsuits, but I only got back in and the live only started really working around the 1 hour into the pageant mark, around the time when the girls came and gave their mission statements. So yes, in conclusion, for us who paid for exclusive live streaming, it was so exclusive that even we were excluded from watching. Now, I know a lot of you guys sent me the link to the SABC Plus app. The problem with that is I live in Namibia. We do not have access to SABC, and obviously on the web it is blocked in countries outside of South Africa, which is not unusual for a lot of national broadcasters. I'm sure that probably a lot of South Africans wouldn't be able to access NBC, which is the Namibian Broadcasting Network. I did, however, used to have a VPN, which I chose not to renew because I thought I don't use it that much. It's not really necessary. But I'm definitely going to be renewing my VPN because it would have come in so handy last night, guys. I'm so upset with the Miss South Africa organization for making me miss the entire first hour of the show. Okay, before we get into the actual show, I do also want to acknowledge a lot of you guys were complaining about the hectic ads on SABC, and because of that we also got some hectic ads during the stream. Well, we didn't really get ads, we got this little screen that showed ad break or whatever. Yeah, and that's very reminiscent of what SABC is. As a child who grew up in South Africa, SABC basically raised me, okay? And I remember always, there's so many more ads on SABC than there was on any other network. So let's talk about the statements that the girls did. I can't really speak to anything that happened before the statements, guys. As I said, the stream wasn't working. And as is usual for Miss South Africa, the entire show is nowhere to be found. I was hoping that they would put the entire show on the Miss SA app in the section that we paid to watch the stream, that they would just re-upload the show there in a timely fashion, but it has not been re-uploaded. The only thing that's there is the last 2 hours of the show. I missed the first hour. So I got in when it came to these statements, and at this point it was still the top 7. I thought that everybody did great, except for Jordan, who obviously messed up her statements. She lost her train of thought. At the end of the day, she couldn't comply to the time limit, and yeah, it wasn't good for Jordan. But this was expected because obviously throughout the entire Crown Chasers, guys, Jordan was not the best. Jordan needs to stop resting on being pretty. I also missed Bryoni's statement due to internet sabotage. You guys know my internet provider hates me, especially when I'm watching Miss South Africa or Miss Universe or anything equally important. So I did miss Bryoni's one. But I must say that our Miss Universe Arbany did look stunning last night in that blue dress. It suits her so extremely well. So after this, obviously it was time to announce the top 5, and I don't know what happened, like I said, in the first hour of the competition, but why did people have to vote after every episode of Crown Chasers? Could somebody maybe enlighten me, because they definitely made it sound like they were going to bring a girl back and that we were going to have a top 8. That was like definitely what it sounded like, but we ended up having only the top 7 and no top 8. So can somebody maybe tell me what was the story? Was it announced earlier in the competition? Why did we have to vote after every episode of Crown Chasers, if not to vote an eliminated contestant back in? Please let me know. So the top 5 ended up being Homba, Natasha, Nande, Melissa, and Bryoni. So excluded was Jordan, who I was not surprised about, and Anke. Overall, you know what, I was pretty pleased with the top 5 that we had. After this was the evening gown competition, guys, and these dresses, I know a lot of people hated these gowns, but can I just be honest, I love them. I love them all except for Nande's, which I think was lacking sort of length. It could have been longer. It felt like it was like stopped halfway because they probably ran out of beads or something. But I absolutely loved all of the color, the textures. I love these gowns, and they are so quintessentially Raputsoe, who is the designer. So beautiful. I absolutely adored it. Natasha came out in this reddish sort of orange G type of color, which we know this bright sort of orangey red is Natasha's power color. I must say, however, that the lighting on the Miss SA stage this year was so atrocious that it made Natasha look way older. So guys, spoiler alert, after the evening gown competition, my power went off. Yes, someone was definitely bewitching me last night, probably Kia. My power went off after I've struggled for an hour just to get the Miss SA stream, right? Because everybody was struggling with the stream. But then, just as gown finished, guys, my power went off. And I live in Namibia, we don't even have load shedding. How was I to know? My power hasn't been off for months. Last night, just my luck, guys, right? You can't make this shit up. So, but then again, okay, so after the power went off, I started watching on my phone like a peasant. I usually don't watch on my phone. I went to great effort to put the Miss South Africa app on my computer on this big freaking screen just to be able to watch it nicely and be able to record it while I watch so that I have the footage on hand afterwards. So I was watching Miss South Africa with my boyfriend, and even he remarked how all of the women look like they're in their 30s because of this horrendous lighting. At some points the light was shining straight down on their faces. You could see, you know, every single crevice that is normal in a person. Not all of it. Listen, nobody, you can be 15 years old and look terrible in certain lighting. And so I do think the Miss South Africa organization should start prioritizing lighting on stage, especially because this is a televised event. Anyway, back to the gowns. I thought the gowns were so gorgeous, even in this horrendous lighting that the Miss South Africa stage had. Coffee break. But the one woman who really stood out for me in gown was Bryoni. Guys, that color on Bryoni, is it not the most perfect color ever conceptualized for Bryoni ever? This woman is made for bright colors. I never want to see Bryoni in any gray, nude, black, any freaking neutral color ever again. This woman looks so amazing in color. Bryoni was just gorgeous. Nande's gown was too short. Who else was there? Homba came out in this blue dress. Homba's gown performance to me wasn't great either. And then of course we had Melissa in pink, which I think we are used to seeing Melissa in pink. I can't remember what color she wore at the last edition of Miss South Africa that she competed in, but I thought that pink suited Melissa perfectly. Anyway guys, so I had my power cut off. Well, not cut off, the entire town's power was off. Last night was just something else. I had a very interesting night last night, but I wasn't gonna give up, okay? My mother didn't raise any quitters, so I put it on my phone. I still had some mobile data, thank the Lord, and I got into bed next to my partner, who was obviously there. The power was off, he had nothing to do, and so from top 5 Q&A forward, me and my partner were watching together. And you know, he's sort of a novice when it comes to pageantry. He doesn't really know anything about anything. Well, I suppose he must know something because he's been with me for like 5 years. So he probably knows a little something. We were watching top 5 Q&A together, and we both ended up agreeing that Natasha's answer was by far the best. So he definitely said, that's the one, I think she should win. And I was like, but yeah, let me just explain to you quickly. Well, there's no quick way to explain this about Miss Universe and Anne, and the fact that Natasha was already there. And if Natasha is crowned Miss South Africa, we can't send her to Miss Universe, and then we have to send a runner-up to Miss Universe, and this might offend Miss Universe and whatever. And his brain just broke. He's like, but she's the best, so she should win. And then I was like, yeah, you just don't understand. But yeah, I do agree that Natasha gave the best answer in top 5 Q&A. Unfortunately for me, Homba gave the worst answer in top 5 Q&A. So at this point, I wasn't expecting Homba to go through to the top 3. Other than that, I think the other 3 girls, Melissa, Bryoni, and Nande, were sort of equals when it came to top 5 Q&A, but Natasha was on the far end, you know, the best. Homba to me unfortunately was the worst, and the other 3, you know, any one of them could have gone through to top 3. So the top 3 ended up being Natasha, Nande, and Bryoni. Guys, to be honest with you, I was expecting Melissa a bit more than I was expecting Nande, but at the end of the day, all 3 of them, they were so close that I let it go, because at least Natasha got through. Natasha gave the best answer by far. If she hadn't gone through, it would have been a bit questionable, to be honest with you. So for the top 3 Q&A, as per usual, all 3 of the top 3 got the same question, and it was to do with, and I'm paraphrasing, what aspect of South African culture would you want to show to the rest of the world? Nande answered, Ubuntu, the concept of, humanity, being kind to others, and working together, things like that. And Bryoni was very much focused on diversity, and she made a comment that South Africa is the most diverse country in the world, which I don't really know how true that is. I feel like it is sort of, South Africa is a very diverse country, don't get me wrong. We have strong Malaysian culture in the Cape. We have obviously Indian people in Durban, a lot of them. We have, all of the different South African tribes, Xhosa, Zulu, all of that. And obviously we have people of Dutch descent, German descent, French descent, English descent. We have all sorts in South Africa, but I would not necessarily say that South Africa is the most diverse country in the world, because if you look at a country like the USA, it's very diverse as well, the UK very diverse as well, but South Africa, we are diverse, but Bryoni should have perhaps thought her statement through better. It wasn't bad nonetheless. Then it came time for Natasha to answer the same question, and she basically combined the two. She talked about South Africa's diversity, but then again she also talked about the concept of working together, being there for each other, all of that. So I definitely thought that at the end of the day, Natasha also had the best answer, since she did combine the best aspects of the two women before her's answer. Keep in mind that they couldn't hear each other's answers either. So Natasha answered every single question to the beat. It was actually amazing to watch. I must say also one of you guys actually DM'd me and said that Natasha was just screaming. And I must say, yeah, she was a little bit loud. Her voice was a little bit she did raise her voice a little bit too much, but to me the content of her answers were extremely well formulated. So the top two ended up being Natasha and Bryoni, and at this point to me it was pretty much clear that Natasha was going to win. And just before Bonang announced the winner of Miss South Africa, which was Natasha, she talked about She added something that is not usually added with such emphasis at a Miss South Africa competition. And she obviously said, if the winner can't fulfill her duties, the other top two finalists, she didn't use the word runner-up, other top two finalists will step in and take over. Now, this is where I realized Natasha is getting crowned, Bryoni is going to Miss Universe. Because also, notice that after Natasha was crowned Miss South Africa, Bryoni was not given a runner-up sash, which is the usual custom at Miss South Africa and has been for the past couple of years. The runner-ups always get sashes as well. But Bryoni didn't get any runner-up sash because I think she is going to be getting her Miss Universe South Africa sash at a later date, and it's probably going to be announced one of these days. Bryoni is going to be representing South Africa at Miss Universe, is what I think is going to be happening, and I think that's why Bonang was very careful not to use the word runner-up. She was very careful to, emphasize that since Natasha cannot go to Miss Universe, emphasize in a way that, she didn't really use these exact words, but I think it's apparent to everyone who has some knowledge of the pageant world that they were trying to sort of say that, Natasha can't go to Miss Universe again. The other top two finalists will have to step in and take over that duty because they didn't use the word runner-up. And I think that is what makes it most clear to me that Bryoni is going to Miss Universe. And you know what? I think that perhaps Anne, who is the owner of Miss Universe, will understand this. Natasha has already gone to Miss Universe, but Natasha was also undeniably the best contestant of the night at Miss South Africa. So I think Anne will understand this. And the Miss South Africa organization did the most wise and diplomatic thing by now putting the ball firmly in Anne and Miss Universe's court, saying, listen, you can see for yourself, this girl, Natasha, was the best of the evening. We had no choice but to crown her as Miss South Africa. We have this other girl, she's not a runner-up, we never stated so. She is the other girl in the top two. Take it or leave it, right? And so there will probably be talks about this. And Natasha will probably be going to Miss Supranational, perhaps, since I think Miss South Africa's license with Miss Supranational, their contract with Miss Supranational is still valid, because pageant contracts, they last 2 to 3 years. I do think that the Miss South Africa organization are probably considering not renewing their Miss Supranational contract the way they did with not renewing their Miss World contract earlier this year. The Miss South Africa organization has been very careful to please the Miss Universe organization. It didn't escape me that there were no representation from the Miss Supranational camp this year. I mean, yes, Ayanda was there, Shanique and Lalela were both there, but in a private capacity. Then we had Andre Slay, who is at the helm of Miss Supranational. He's in Cape Town. To my knowledge, he wasn't invited to Miss South Africa, otherwise he would have probably been there. The reigning Miss Supranational wasn't invited, from what I can tell. And so I definitely think that the Miss South Africa organization is looking to get rid of all of their other licenses apart from Miss Universe. And Miss South Africa is slowly going to turn into Miss Universe South Africa, which in itself is probably not a bad thing, but yes, there's an old saying that goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. But then the question is also, will Natasha go anywhere? Perhaps it is best not to send Natasha even to Miss Supranational, because this might offend, and perhaps it is best to send Nande instead. So guys, we will have to see what's going to happen with this. It's very interesting to me how the Miss South Africa organization has navigated the situation with Natasha. But yes, obviously they have sort of told us in not so many words, or perhaps that's just me reading into it too much, that Bryoni is going to be Miss Universe South Africa this year. I think this was made abundantly clear by Bonang's unusual emphasis of, if Miss South Africa can't fulfill her duties. This is not usually something that is emphasized at a Miss South Africa competition, and the fact that Bryoni has received no runner-up sash tells me that she is probably expecting another sort of sash soon. So we will have to see about that, guys. I'm so pleased that Natasha won, even though she won't be representing us at Miss Universe. Whether or not she will be representing us at Miss Supranational also remains to be seen. That might fall to Nande also. But yeah, we will have to see about that. Natasha, to me, obviously was the clear winner of Miss South Africa this year. I don't think there's any denying. There are a lot of people calling her selfish for entering again just because she can't go to Miss Universe. Saying that she's selfish and also, crying favoritism. But if you watched all of Crown Chasers, and you've definitely seen how amazingly prepared Natasha was this year, then there would be no argument that Natasha definitely deserved this win. Other than this, for Bryoni, whether or not she's ready for Miss Universe, which is in roughly it's literally just around the corner. It's probably 12 to 16 weeks away. Whether or not Bryoni is prepared, guys, I don't think so. She's not entirely prepared yet. If you watch Crown Chasers, her walk needs work, her talk needs work. She definitely needs to tone up a bit and, work on herself a bit more. With the help of the Miss South Africa organization, this will probably happen in short order. But we will have to see about Bryoni at Miss Universe. She did look stunning last night, though. I must say, Bryoni in green was everything. Let me know what you guys thought about the show. I'm pretty disgusted with the fact that I missed the entire first hour. I'm so disgusted with that. Also, you might be wondering, Rina, where in the hell are we? We are in my living room. The sun was shining here earlier, and the place where I usually film is very cold. You can see me. Listen, I have a blanket, I have coffee, I have a sweater on, I have a scarf. I am cold, okay? And so I wanted to sit here where there is sun shining down on my feet as we speak. It is glorious. Guys, we have a new Miss South Africa. And yeah, I'm just very excited about it. I'm happy about it. Now, we need to talk about what we're going to do with Miss South Africa in the stream, because we cannot let them forget about what they did to us, because literally it would have been fine if it was a free stream and everybody got to watch it for free. Then I would expect the Miss South Africa app to crash and perhaps experience some problems, and then I would have had the foresight to actually get my VPN together and just go on SABC Plus and watch Miss SA there. But guys, Miss South Africa had us paying for this, and so I don't think that's fair. I think that somebody should say something, because we know that Miss South Africa organization are the CEOs of sweeping things under the rug and not acknowledging this shit show is probably what they are planning to do. But yes, I think a lot of us should demand demand them, you know, at least, I don't know if they can do refunds, to be honest with you. You know, it's the money I paid for the stream is not gonna make me broke, but you know, it is a bit annoying. It is a bit annoying that a lot of people paid just not to be able to watch the stream. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of Miss South Africa this year. I'm so happy that Natasha won. I hope Bryoni can, you know, I hope Bryoni can represent us well at Miss Universe. Who is going to be representing us at Miss Supranational? I do not know. I don't think the Miss South Africa organization will probably have to think twice about sending Natasha to Supranational, because sending the winner now to another pageant might offend Anne's fragile feelings too much. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.